Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We are going to finish out the year of 1987 overnight tonight, so join us for that. Billy Burt versus Ted Arsini opens our edition here, which is the October 3rd, 1987 edition. Ted Arsini is a guy who, honestly, never got where he wanted to get. Thankful he should be to Percy Pringle in this role because Percy carries a lot of just keeping him credible, I think. We don't see all of the interviews and local spec promos that I wish we could see from World Class. I think that's one thing that's been lost that makes me quite sad, actually. But Billy Burt, Billy Burt, not a guy that I know a lot about. I assume just a local enhancement talent coming through the area. Arsini, again, a major power guy. He's in the WWF for a little bit before, I believe, before this, 86, and then comes down here to World Class. He is holding on to what I believe is the Texas Championship at this point. Power moves by Arsini, but even still, something like he just looks bloated. He reminds me of a Bill Kazmaier type. He reminds me of even like an early Mark Henry, where you really didn't think he had the ability to move well. It would be a reminder. Big clothesline and almost like a lariat for the win. Then we go to the Mexican Connection interviewing a new partner. That new partner being Mil Mascaras. Mascaras will come in quite a bit over the next several weeks and months. I don't know. I mean, to me, they did a lot with this. They kind of bring that, they bring that forward. They make a big deal out of that. They kind of talk about Mil as being the legend of Mexico, and they really do put that over quite strongly. Then we see Kevin Von Erich, a guy we don't see very often these days. Frankie the Thumper Lancaster is his opponent. Kevin, of course, getting ready still to enter the arena show on the 17th of October, so a couple of weeks away. He's going to face Al Perez. That, for the World Championship, that's going to be a big deal. Kevin, such a major fixture throughout the early part of World Class, and lesser here. I don't know if he's slowing down because of injuries. I don't know if he's slowing down because he had more professional duties. I don't know what that's about. What I do know is that he definitely does slow down. Frankie Lancaster, not a guy that they pushed a lot. However, he is a former tag team champion here. He is a guy that they kind of, do push, but more so out of necessity of needing bodies. Boy Tony is at ringside with him. The breakdown of the match is relatively simple. Lancaster tries to brawl as much as he can. Kevin does get a victory and gets the claw on both guys. However, it's a disqualification victory as Boy Tony interferes before Kevin can get the full victory. Then we move to Kevin Von Erich and Al Perez with the contract signing for the stadium show. The basic idea here is there's a couple points. Fritz Von Erich and everybody sitting around a table, the Board of Governors, which is basically a championship committee type situation. There's debate over the 60-minute time limit. Supposedly there was talk that they had talked about a no time limit match earlier. Kevin not happy with that. The wonky finish where the belt was taken away from Kevin without him being defeated is also discussed here. It's never really flushed out, and it's one of those world-class storylines I'm not a fan of. Anyway, then they talk about both guys having 2 seconds. Kevin asked that Brian Adias is at ringside, so that's Adias and Gary Hart for Perez, followed quickly by Fritz Von Erich and Kerry Von Erich will be at ringside for Kevin. Gary Hart debates this and is not a fan of this, but the championship committee does agree to it. Obviously, that means that the Von Erichs are going to go over in the main event, and that actually does happen in a couple of weeks, but we'll get there in a minute. That's a match worth going out of your way to see, the Al Perez Kevin Von Erich match. And there is another one before the end of the year that's really worth going out of your way to see. Not going out of your way to see, though, is the main event this week. Gary Hart presents the Iron Sheik against Al Madril. And yeah, this is not a, great championship contest. Sheik talking trash to the local area Texans. Big surprise there. Obviously, the fans are solidly behind the Sheik getting his tail kicked in. Al Madril just not able to bump around the way the Sheik needs. I mentioned in the last few weeks the Sheik, is a guy who was doing pretty okay, but at this point he's 15, 16, 17 years or so into his career, and he does start to slow down. Sheik tries to kick at Madril. Madril not very impressed with this atomic drop early on the Sheik. Sheik does take bumps, but you can see he's quicker to get up. He's slower to get up, and they brawl to the outside. Sheik sends Madril into the ringside post. Local ringside post? I didn't know there were long distance ones. Anyway, and then they go back in the ring. Abdominal stretch by the Sheik. The old hold on to the rope spot here. Madril tries to get things going his way, doesn't really get what he wants out of it. It's a really slow plotting match, and it's clear that the Sheik still has some heat drawing value, as he would for several more years, even on the independents through the early 2000s. But his time in the ring, probably slowing down. I mean, by 92, 93, which is only 5 years from here, his best years are behind him. And, certainly to bring a guy in like the Sheik and have him already be struggling has to be difficult if you're Fritz von Erich, but I understand the idea, especially now that they're moving towards ESPN, understand the idea of having this type of opportunity. Anyway, we move to the next episode, and we'll be back with more right after this.